Hey Money Masters, in this video we're going to talk about your money beliefs and why they matter that we're aware of what our beliefs about money are. And I'm going to share with you something that's been shared with me from mentors over the years that I think is super helpful because it levels the playing field for all of us to know that we're all going through the same type of experience, and there are ways we can be aware of what's happening and we can overcome and make adjustments to and perhaps even transform old beliefs that aren't serving us and limiting our success into positive, abundant beliefs that are very helpful in making progress in your life. So what I have before you is the TEAR cycle, T-E-A-R. And what this stands for is, first, let me talk about this. There are things in our life that cause us to act. And there are things in our life that create strong emotion. And what those things are our thoughts. Now, many of my mentors over the years, in fact, one of my favorite mentors who I never have met, but his name is James Allen. He wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh, and it was a really short treatise on the power of thought. And it wasn't so much a business book or a personal development book as it was just kind of a stream of his consciousness and awareness about what the value of our thinking is and how the thoughts that we have greatly impact the effects of our life. Thoughts are the cause, results are the effects of our thoughts. Thoughts, so that's the first part here. Our thoughts are what ultimately generate the results of our life. And our thoughts have been happening from the moment we were born. In fact, one of my favorite specialists in neuroscience, his name is Bruce Lipton. He's known as the father of epigenetics, and he studied human behavior. And he has found from studying brain behavior that children from the age of 0 through their 7th year, so just before they turn 8, are in a different brain wave length than we as adults are. Children are in theta brainwave state. And theta, I'm going to put that up here. Theta is like hypnosis. When we're in theta state, like just before we fall off to bed, we kind of move through into theta state where we're very suggestive, where we can receive positive thought that can start to generate into our subconscious behaviors and programming that we want to have in our life. And so children from 0 through their 7th year are living in theta, meaning they're in observational hypnosis. Everything they see and everything they hear, they believe to be true about the world. They have no reason not to. Everything that their parents say, even sometimes I've heard this to be true in the womb, babies can hear and start to feel the energy of the words of the parents and the loved ones around them and start to become, from their very inception, who they are in their adult life. So it's really important that we recognize we were programmed. Because we were in a hypnotic state for the first 7 years of our life, we were programmed by the surroundings to do things a certain way. That's why wealthy children stay wealthy for the most part, and poor children stay poor for the most part. It's the programming that we receive. So I'm spending time on this because it is absolutely crucial that we recognize that our thoughts are powerful. In fact, another specialist in neuroscience, his name's Joe Dispenza, he speaks about how our thought is like it's like the analytical side. It's the electrical impulse, while our heart is the magnet. He says that our thoughts generate an electrical impulse that goes out into the world, and the feelings then, this next part, emotions or feelings, that's the heart. And the heart is like a magnet. When we have positive, joyful excitement about something, we can feel what it feels like to be wealthy, to have resources, to pay the bills, to be generous. When we have the positive emotion and feeling that comes along with the thought, I want to be wealthy, or even in the present tense as if it already exists, I am wealthy, I am generous, I am an excellent value creator in the world, then it magnetizes what we desire most to actually come toward us. And so then we will start to take the actions that go along with those feelings, and then we will start to get the results that we are seeking. And so we're going to start to connect these points together. Thoughts lead to emotions and feelings, actions, and then the results we get. And depending on what the result is, it will have an impact on the thinking that continues to happen. And so if we take this cycle that we see here, it has the potential to wind up. I'm going to kind of make a vortex here. So if we go through this cycle, it can wind upward into an abundant, joyful life, and it can wind downward into despair and worry and fear and doubt and ultimately a form of destruction. So on the top end here, we have abundance. And on the bottom end here, we have destruction. Actually, I'm going to use the word scarcity. Demise. And so this vortex of our life, the more negative thinking, the more negative results. The more positive thinking, the more positive results. And even when we have difficult times, if we stay in gratitude for the experiences and believe that they're happening for us rather than to us, I believe in a goodly creator, in a God who is our Father, who cares greatly for our success, has given us the seeds of being creators just like Him. And thereby, I have to believe that all things that happen in this world in my life can be for my good. I maintain that abundant, grateful mentality as much as I can because it helps me stay in positivity and in a way of life that is more enjoyable than if I sit in demise and fear and worry and doubt and anger. And it's just no fun to be there for very long. Yes, we go through that. It's temporary though, and we should be able to transition out of it and be in a more abundant lifestyle and mindset more often. Now, why do we sometimes get stuck? Well, that's where belief comes in. So I'm going to put right here, think of this like a magnifying glass or a lens. And I call it the lens of belief. And so when we bring the programming we had when we were children into life, and then we start to find evidence based on all the programming we had as kids, our beliefs become stronger or they might diminish. So we start to question as we become adults, was what I was taught really helpful? So let me tell you a quick story. The story of the ham. I use this all the time. I absolutely love the story of the ham, the Christmas ham. So imagine you're at a family party and you're observing a conversation between three generations. You have a grandma, a mom, and a daughter. They're preparing the meal. It's part of what they love to do. And the granddaughter asks mom, "Hey mom, we're cooking this ham today. I don't get it. Why do we cut off the end of the ham?" And mom just says, "I don't know, it's tradition. We've always just cut off the end of the ham. It's part of what we do when we prepare the meal." And that gets mom thinking, and mom goes, "You know what? Maybe we should ask grandma why we cut the end of the ham off." And grandma, she says, "I don't know about you two. I think it's kind of silly. When I was raising you, our pan was too small, so we had to cut off the end of the ham in order for it to fit in the pot so we could get it in the oven and cook it. But why you keep cutting off the ham today, I have no clue. We have a big enough pot to put the whole thing in there." So this is a silly example of generational belief. What one generation found to be very helpful, the next generation just takes on because that's what they were programmed to do. And they didn't ask the question, why? Does this still serve me? But the third generation did, and it caused the second generation to start to question their own life as well. So you might be that person. You might be that first generation who's starting to ask the question of mom or dad, "Hey, why did you do things the way you did?" And they say, "Well, let's ask grandma and grandpa why they did the way they did. And if you're willing to look back a few generations, you'll see where the beliefs that you have come in. So it may be limiting, or it may be like progressive, the opposite of limiting. Progressive, it might be abundant. So we might even just say it's helpful. So limiting beliefs, progressive beliefs, abundant beliefs, helpful beliefs. And of course we want to acknowledge and get rid of the ones that are not supporting us. So we have some choice in that, don't we? We can start to take a look and identify what our beliefs are, what our beliefs are that came from mom, from dad, from grandma, from grandpa. And here's some of the ones that I know are pretty common. To be rich is to be greedy, and greedy is bad. So in other words, if I have more than I need, if I'm perceived as rich, even if I'm not really that rich, but if others might perceive me that way because I bought the new car, maybe I'm willing to save. I'm the saver when we talked about money personality. So I save and I buy a new car, but then my peers think that I'm rich because I got the nice car, when in reality, you're just kind of on a pretty modest income, but you were just wise with how you did your money. But you're still perceived as greedy, and greedy is bad. That might cause you to not buy the car even though you can, and you want it. Debt is bad. How many of us have grown up with that belief, that debt is bad? Well, we have to qualify what debt is and the type of debt. Is it consumptive debt, meaning that we just overspent and we did the vacation or bought the thing? That might be bad. It probably is. But is it investment debt, like going through school to gain education so that you can earn more money? They're very, very different. Their uses are different. Their outcomes are different. So debt in and of itself isn't necessarily bad, but how you used the tool of debt might have had a bad outcome in your life. So those are beliefs that we get from our parents and grandparents. Maybe I'll never be rich. Maybe I'm not worthy of it. I had a neighbor who used to say this, we're down on our luck. Another day, another dollar. We can never get ahead. A day late, a dollar short type of thing. And how about this one? I'll never be able to get out of debt. When we see the words never and bad, those are beliefs. Maybe you've even heard the word I should get out of debt. Should is a function of somebody else's influence on your life. You might ask the question, does it make sense for me to get out of debt? And what kind of debt am I getting out of? So the limiting beliefs that we have are very important to acknowledge. How are they serving us? What good are they doing, or how are they limiting us? And then the emotion that comes along with that, we can actually neutralize it if we start to look at it. In fact, one of my clients I was talking to had this real negative experience around debt. And so I reframed it with her. I said, what if we just call it a loan? What if the word debt has the negative connotation? What if we say you have a loan against your car to allow for transportation, to get to and from your place of work, to take your family where you need to be? Wasn't that loan a good tool? Yeah. Well, you got a loan to go through school. That loan helped you invest in gaining education so you could have the job that you do, which then allows you to buy the car. But you chose, instead of paying all cash for it and financing it yourself, you chose to have a bank to help you finance it, giving you the freedom to keep some money in the bank to give you peace of mind. It's like, oh yeah, that is kind of helpful. So we just kind of reframed the word debt to a loan, which is what it was. It was a car loan, or it was an education loan, and a loan had certain utility that was beneficial. And so she started to shift her thinking, which created a positive emotion. And then she had choice. So there's this door of choice right here. And you could open that door in reactivity. You can be reactive, or you can be proactive. There we go. So the door can lead to reactivity or proactivity. Oftentimes this happens so quickly we don't even recognize it. So we have to take a step back and ask ourselves after the experience happened, what occurred? What thought was I having that led to that emotion, that led to that quick reactive behavior? Oftentimes it's the negative behavior of anger or fear or worry, which causes us to speak out loud, to do something that might be against our better judgments, and will lead to actions that are frustrating and thereby results that are undesirable. So if we choose to be proactive, though, when that emotion comes up, I'm like, oh, I know that emotion. That emotion comes from this belief that I've been recognizing. Now we can start to be proactive about it and actually break the pattern of negative thought before it gets to action. And so if we can really choose to be in a proactive state, this is the ideal experience. In fact, another mentor of mine, Stephen Covey, in his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talks very much about this. The ability to be proactive is one of the 7 habits of highly productive and successful people. So we need to look at that and practice that. And then we get the actions, or we do the actions that then lead to the results. So another way of putting this is in the realm of be, do, and then have. A lot of us think we want to have things, but we aren't actually the person who's ready to receive it. So what I'm suggesting to you here, as you look at your money beliefs, we need to have a framework, and this tier cycle is the framework. We have to know that who we are today, James Allen in his book, As a Man Thinketh, that I mentioned before, says this: we get that which we are, not what we want. We get that which we are. That's a heart thing. Who we are resonates as that magnet from our heart that brings to us the things that we are. We attract that which we are, not what we want. So we have to become a new person, and that happens by looking at your beliefs and being more proactive about how you approach your life, which then will lead to the behaviors. And some of those behaviors that I'm starting to train you on are the behavior of tracking your money, having a purpose to track your money so that you can see what's happening. And you can start to feel the emotions that come with knowing what's going on, which should be positive. You might pass through a little bit of negativity going, oh crap, I should have done something differently. And then you say, you know what, I'm glad I know that so that I can make positive change. And as I track for a few months, now I can see a good average of what is happening in my financial life. And now I can make positive change. And I can shift the emotion to positive in the way of saving more, reducing some of the expenses, and getting ahead. Starting to have the resources to pay down those consumptive debts if you have them. Or if you don't have those, move toward the productive investments that you want to have. And those are the results that bring us abundance. So money beliefs matter. And I hope, again, as I do in all my videos, that this was helpful. That you've got a nugget or two that you can use to make progress in your life. You guys, I love you. I don't even know you, but those that are watching this, I feel a great love for humanity. A little bit emotional about this because this is probably the biggest topic that I've come across over 2 decades of work. And if we can get this thing figured out and start to make positive progress here, our financial life will get better. I assure you of that. All right, we'll see you in the next one.